Welcome back to What's Not Sports, guys. Episode 40 is here. We're back on the pulse check. We've got a lot to cover. We've just had a huge weekend with rugby league. On Sunday, we had, the conclusion of the NRLW NRL season with the grand final. We also had the state championship, which was the winner of the New South Wales Cup and the Q Cup play each other. So much footy, so much to unpack with it all, actually, and I'm really excited. I got a lot of notes today to dive in to talk about. Um, it was just awesome, and as a footy fan, it was exciting footy from the get go, and I just had a very good time watching the footy. And not much to say more than that. So I really want to dive in, have a deep dive. We're going to kick it off with the state championship, have a look onto that. And yeah, let's dive in. So the day started with the state champion, the winner of the New South Wales Cup comp and the Q Cup comp, the New Zealand Warriors, who had dominated all season in the New South Wales Cup, got the win in the grand final, and then they've gone on to the state championship. Similarly, the Burleigh Bears, the Q Cup team, an incredible season. And they were the two teams facing off. The final score was 50-20, and the Warriors absolutely crushed the Burleigh Bears. There were good glimmers in probably the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the game that were good. It was a good warm-up game for the rest of the day, and it didn't have that nail-biting atmosphere like the other two grand finals did, and it obviously didn't have the crowds that the other two games did, but it was just it's good experience for the Burleigh Bears, and getting them on that stage. They've done it quite a few years in a row. It was quite a one-sided affair, obviously, with the 50-20. Tanner Boyd really putting on a clinic there. It just the curtain raiser game. It was tricky for the Burleigh Bears because you look at the Q Cup compared to the New South Wales Cup. The New South Wales Cup, for the majority of teams, if not, let's say 85% of them, are actually directly linked to that club. Like, for example, the Warriors, where in the Q Cup, they're more affiliated and feed aside. So Burleigh Bears feed into the Broncos. So the New Zealand Warriors side had a lot more access to, I think it was something like half the team had played quite a few games of A grade, where the Burleigh Bears, because they're a feeder club and affiliate to the Broncos were playing in the grand final, so they didn't have those expert players that they might have had if not the Broncos being in the final, potentially changing the results up. It's questioning, do the New South Wales Cup guys get more of an advantage that way? That is the big question, the big what if with it all. And this is just before I dive in the game a little bit more, but that is the real question of it all. Does there need to be a change in the Q Cup or the New South Wales Cup for when it does come to state champion time? One team isn't missing. It's more of what a reserve grade side is compared to what it is as a New South Wales, like a half of a first grade side. You know what I mean? So let's have a dive into it. the Warriors obviously just flowed so well. They were so consistent with it. Minimal errors. Tanner Boyd really taking the reins there, using that experience from the NRL, obviously, to help the boys get across the line there. Now, the Clearys don't go away without a premiership this year. Obviously, with the Warriors winning the New South Wales Cup and now the state championship, Jet could be the favourite son of the year now. But just shows that the Cleary family's got depth. We talked about the debate of the New South Wales Cup having a bit more of an advantage. Yeah, that's mainly all I've got for the clash. Tell me your thoughts on it. Does there need to be a difference? Like, obviously, the New South Wales Cup has a lot more teams in it. Let's just have a look how many teams. I think they are on 16 teams at the moment in the New South Wales Cup. If we have a quick look, not the host, but the New South Wales Cup have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13 teams, I believe. Yeah, so 13 teams, and maybe that is similar to. I thought they had a couple more, and then we go to the Q Cup, and that's actually the Q Cup has. Sorry, I'm getting my facts mixed up here. The Q Cup does have more teams in it, but the difference is the club affiliated, where almost every single club in New South Wales Cup are affiliated, or they're a feeder club, or they're a club for an individual club in the NRL, where in the Queensland Cup, there's about 4 teams that are feeders, and then potentially another 2 that are affiliates just for the Broncos. The only team that is in the Q Club that is direct feeders to an NRL side that's just one-on-one is the Dolphins. So that's really interesting in the fact that there are so many clubs that have, like, and the Falcons, our feeders and affiliates to the Storm. Now they're another affiliate for the Broncos. It's kind of just like how, like, it's almost at a talent pool, I guess, smaller in the fact that you've got all these players for one team, like all these teams kind of grouped in with the Broncos, where in the New South Wales Cups, it's one-on-one, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's how my brain works. And it just shows the depth isn't quite there as there is in the New South Wales Cup. Anyway, enough on the New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup and the Cup champions. It was a good game, like a good opener, I thought. Yeah, I just love footy, so it was good. Now let's jump on into the grand final of the NRLW. We had the Roosters versus the Broncos. The Roosters had 2 injuries heading into the game with their star players, and they probably lost their favourites. They were undefeated all season. The only game the Broncos had lost that season was to the Roosters in round 3. It was a dominant first half by the Broncos. They led at halftime 12-0. Tamika Upton, obviously being a key player for the Broncos, like she always is. And then within 9 minutes, the Roosters scored 3 unanswered tries. So that really brought the game back into contention. They took the lead. And look, Then the Broncos, I believe, scored again, bringing back within 2. And there was a controversial try in the 65th minute, so 5 minutes left to go. It was overturned to a no try, which then secured the victory for the Broncos 22-18. That try, it is controversial. I think it should have been a try. And then we probably see the Roosters win, but no try, Broncos win that one. I do really want to shout out the comeback of the Roosters girls in that they were down 12-0 at halftime. So in a grand final, you're staring down the barrel and you're going, how do we come back from this? They did really good to come back. Literally so close to getting the win. It was just, that last 5 minutes, that try being denied. So, that's what I've got for the NRLW. The Broncos add another one to the tally, another win to their record. I believe they're at let's fact check. How many premierships do they have? NRLW. Now, the Broncos are now 4 premiership titles. I believe the Roosters are on 3. So that makes it, the Broncos now have the most premierships, which is pretty cool if you ask me. It's getting good, the NRLW, I just wanted to say. Sorry, I'm just a little bit looking at the facts, a little bit slow this morning. The facts, of it all is 2018 was the start of the NRLW comp, I believe. We're now in 2025. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 8 years now, the comp has been running and there has been so much more depth growing. It went from 4 teams playing and it just being Broncos, Roosters to now 11. It's really incredible. They're continuing to grow. I don't know who's joining the comp next year, if there is anyone. But it's the program of the women's rugby league is actually becoming really good and really enjoyable to watch. A great game. It was a spectacle game on the weekend, 22-18. Literally, because a try got disallowed in the last 5 minutes of the game, it just shows that it's just as entertaining as the men's. Now, let's jump into the men's game, have a bit more of a dive there. It was a good game. So let's jump into it. So I think we got to give the Broncos the comeback Kings title. They did it in every finals match this season. They've done it throughout the season. I just was shocked that they got it done. Let's have a look at it. So the 2025 NRL Grand Final. It could be one of the greatest grand finals we've seen. One of the best I've seen, in all honesty, in the way it was so entertaining and so close. There were quite a few calls that I disagree with. So let's jump into that first. Yeah. I will say there was. Let's talk about the head knocks. We had about four or five total contacts of players making contact with the shoulder to the head, and only one sin bin. I don't like that. A lot of the contact was very similar. I know that people are saying the Reece Walsh contact on the head wasn't too bad. And I disagree, in the fact that it's contact with the shoulder and the head, that's 10 minutes in the bin. If you're going to change the rules, change it for everyone and no one gets binned. I agree that it should be a sin bin for Trent Leora at the end of the game. That's the one I'm talking about. But if he's going to get sin binned when they had momentum at the end of the game with about, I think it was 7 minutes left, and there was no sin bins earlier in the game, that's ridiculous to me. Like, that's changed the momentum and the flow of the game completely. I don't want to take away any win or bag anything about that. I just want to make that a known fact of how I feel about it. Now we can dive in and talk about the game. I just wanted to put that out there and talk about, that's my controversy for the grand final. That's probably the only one I have in it, is the head knocks. Well, the shoulder on the head, the type of contact that we saw, and that if one person's going to get binned for doing something similar to what 4 other players had done, 3 from the Broncos and 1 from the Storm, why hadn't they all been sin binned? And why are you only just deciding to sin bin this person who's having an impact of the game in the last 10 minutes when the game is so close and they have momentum? That's my only thoughts on it. You can agree, you can disagree. Let me know how you feel. Now, let's jump into it. After 19 years, the Brisbane Broncos finally get the premiership win. Now, it was a grand final specular. Yeah, specular? It was spectacular. Let's just go with that. It was spectacular. We saw a Brisbane Broncos side that we hadn't seen before, in the fact that they did what Penrith did to them in 2023. Let's break it down to the narrative a little bit. In 2021, we see the Penrith Panthers make their second grand final on the road. They're coming off a loss the year before, and they're facing South Sydney Rabbitohs. In the last 5 minutes of the game, I believe it was, the Bunnies have scored, and I believe the scores was 24-22 with the conversion to come. Adam Reynolds, he lines up to take the shot, kicks, swinging, looks good, it's not enough. The Panthers go on to win that grand final. Adam Reynolds is with South for another year, I believe, before he moved to Brisbane Broncos, and then we go to 2023. Adam Reynolds is now at Brisbane Broncos, and they have just made the NRL Grand Final, and they're playing Penrith Panthers. The Penrith Panthers have come off being in the last 3 Grand Finals and winning the last 2. They go, and Brisbane put on a clinic. They put on an absolute clinic. I believe they were 3 tries ahead of the above 3 tries more than what Penrith had. They looked like they were home and sailing with 15 minutes left. Adam Reynolds, you've done it. What Penrith did to you, you're doing to them. No. Nathan Cleary had something to say about that. Nathan Cleary puts together possibly the best 15-minute performance in a grand final, and literally drags the Penrith Panthers to a victory over the Brisbane Broncos that looked like that couldn't happen, and the Panthers get a 3-peat. 2024 comes around. Melbourne Storm versus Panthers. The Panthers pretty much like were quite dominant in that game, and they go on for the four-peat. This brings us to now, 2025. At the end of the 2024 season, the Broncos decided to sack their coach, Kevy Walters. They offer Michael Maguire a contract. The man who has just come off a run in 2023 leading the Kiwis to a win in the Pacific Championships. 2024 led New South Wales to a win in State of Origin. He comes to the Broncos 2025, gives them their toughest off-season ever. There are a lot of concerns at the start of the season with performance and worries if they wouldn't even make the top 8. In the same boat, Penrith, they're at the bottom of the ladder. As the season goes, both teams get better. Penrith slowly climb up the ladder, and the Broncos knock on the top 4 door, get to the last 2 rounds of the season, and the Broncos have just snuck into the top 4. And the Panthers, they snuck into the top 8. From there, we go and see a devastating game against the Canberra Raiders. A robbery, some might say. But the Broncos triumph to the prelims. The Panthers, who finished 7th, who looked like they were out of the top 8 in round 14 when they were on the bottom of the ladder, triumph over the Warriors in the first week of finals. In the second week of finals, while the Broncos are resting and recovering, the Panthers face off against the Bulldogs. They dominate the Bulldogs, bringing them to a prelim against the Brisbane Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. Now, here we lie, 2025, the prelim final on a Sunday. Brisbane Broncos versus the Penrith Panthers. Hang on. How many days? 4 years. Well, nearly to the week. 4 years from when Adam Reynolds at Suncorp Stadium, because of COVID, that's where the grand final was held that year, had missed a conversion, leading to the start of the Penrith dynasty. Being down, I think it was 14-0 at halftime. Broncos come back, bringing it, maybe it was 16-0 to 16-all with a conversion to come. Adam Reynolds kicks from the opposite side of the field to what he did in 2021 and scores a goal, converts the try, giving them the 2-point lead and defeating the Penrith Panthers. Now, bring us to the Sunday we just experienced. No more Panthers dynasty. Adam Reynolds ended that. And it's the Broncos versus Melbourne Storm. Melbourne Storm, never in their history, have ever lost 2 back-to-back prelims. 2 back-to-back grand finals. Incredible from them. They rock up and they put on an excellent first half of footy. There was drama aplenty, high tackles, tries scored, and the first time these two have ever played since 2006. To kick off the game, Dean Mariner scores in 2 minutes for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds converts it, bringing it to 6-0. Nick Meaney then scores a try and converts it. 6-all. Katoa scores. Meaney converts it. 12-6. Will Warbrick then scores, bringing it to 16-6. Now the game looks like it's run away quite a bit. And then the plumber comes along, Reece Walsh. He scores a try. Adam Reynolds converts it. 12-16. Next up, Jerome Hughes scores a try. Excellent story. The man who fractured his wrist in the first round of finals has come back for the it was the last round of the regular season, has come back and he scored a try in the grand final. Jerome Hughes is looking good. Meaney converts it. 22-12. Storm up at halftime. For the first 5 minutes, it looked like it's all Storm. But Sheba has something to say. Gemmet Shibasaki. He goes over. Scores a try. 16-22. Reece Walsh misses the conversion. Dean Mariner, 9 minutes later, goes for a try. Reece Walsh misses the conversion. 20-22. The comeback is on for the Broncos. And one man's orchestrating it. But then, Adam Reynolds goes down. He goes down with an injury. He's hurting. He has to be carried off the field. But there's another man on the field to do something about that. His name's Ben Hunt. Quickly, let's jump back to the narrative of Ben Hunt. 10 years ago to the day, that man was looking like he was about to win a grand final for the Brisbane Broncos, their first since 2006. Goes to extra time. What happens? Off the kickoff, the ball goes straight through the breadbasket. He has suffered. He went to the Dragons and he's back this year. He wants to win a premiership with the Broncos. He starts to take the reins, opens up Reece Walsh a little bit, gives him a bit of freedom. Bang! Gemmet Shibasaki over for another. 24-22. Reece Walsh converts it in the 58th minute. So there's 22 minutes left and the score is 26-22. The Broncos are up. So then we had our man, Reynolds, go off. Hunt and Walsh are just linking up with Ezra Mam. Just some incredible footy. Bang! Ben Hunt goes to make a tackle on the wrong side. Knee to the head. He was concussed. The most concussed guy I've ever seen on a footy field. He was nowhere. And he was about to fall over. I think that fired up the Broncos even more. The fact that your two starting halves, are now off. Your half and your 5'8", they're gone. Reece Walsh and Ezra Mam take the reins. But no, the Storm are looking so good, so fired up. They're flowing. Pappenhausen is taking stride, looking good, making breaks. But Will Warbrick keeps dropping balls, not making passes, not making catches. It's the demise of the Storm. But then the last 10 minutes, the Storm look like they're gonna go score a try, and then Trent Leora puts a high tackle on and gets sin-binned. The momentum was all with Storm. Now, I think that was a big game changer. I'm not saying Storm score and then they win. I'm just saying the fact that they then had to play with 12 men against 13 and they're down by 4 and he's not coming back on for the rest of the game, that changed the game. The Storm look like they're about to score, but no. The Broncos deny him, getting their first premiership win since 2006 when they last faced off with the Storm in the grand final. That was an insane game. It was, as some would say, absolute cinema. Reece Walsh then goes on to win the Clive Churchill medal, and rightfully so. He played incredible. Shout out to the toilet and the toilet water that man's been drinking. It's been doing incredible work for him. It was a spectacle of footy, and I loved every single moment of it, to be honest. And I'm not a Broncos fan. I'm not a Melbourne man. I'm a Queensland man. And look, I'll be honest, I tipped the Roosters to win in the NRLW, and I tipped the Storm win in the grand final just because of the experience that those two teams have had. But the Broncos pulled the upset off in both, I'd say. Obviously, yeah, Reece getting Clive Churchill well deserved. He mentioned on Mad Monday that he actually did call up Adam Reynolds, when he was coming back to Brizzy, and Walshy decided to come back to Brizzy, and goes, "We're going to win a premiership together." A lot of emotion there. But Michael Maguire had really done. They credit him so much. They love him. And now it's time for fun for him. Congratulations to Brisbane Broncos, the 2025 Premiers. I think that's some special moments I'd like to mention in this was Adam Reynolds getting Billy Walters up on the stage when they won, when they got presented their rings and they were lifting the trophy and everything. Billy Walters been incredible all season as a hooker. He then shifted into 5'8", with Ben Hunt when Ezra Mam and Reynolds went down. Did such a good job with them all. And then he had that ACL injury that ruined his season. But he just been incredible for him. That was a classy act from Reno. So that was pretty cool. But another one was like Harry Grant. He wasn't taking anything away from Reece Walsh, but I agree with him. How did he not get sin binned on that hit on Xavier Coates? That baffled me a little bit. And obviously, but Harry Grant, giving credit to the Broncos, I think that was also a classy act. So all around, they're basically all just Queenslanders, and wannabe Queenslanders pretty much. Like, if you think about it, like, everyone will say, "Oh, but New South Wales player, Reno, Staggs, Tony Staggs, like, blah, blah, blah. Michael Maguire coached the New South Wales team. Yeah. But they all moved for Queensland because Queensland's better. And, like, at the end of the day, Queenslanders just love Queenslanders. So, but I think that game was a real win for the NRL community. Not seeing Penrith get a 5-peat, and I think it was the highlight. We all won. Now, that's enough. That is enough of the 2025 NRL season. We now get to jump into the international season. So we're going to touch this week on the Kangaroos. Next week we'll talk on the Pacific Championships because there's nothing this weekend for it. But the Kangaroos team list, it's Kangaroo season, the international season now. So really awesome. We just had the team list for the Ashes drop, and then we'll go into that. And then we also have the Prime Minister's 13 against Papua New Guinea. And then we'll have a dive into that and have a look. So let's go jump onto the NRL website, and we're going to have a look at our 2025 touring Kangaroo squad for the Ashes. So it's the first Ashes through since 2003. In a couple of weeks, I will do a deep dive into this. Hopefully I have someone to talk to about this. I know I've been saying I'm trying to get a co-host. Still in the works. If you want to be a co-host, go online, go onto my website. Link is in my Instagram bio. Things like that. Hit the link. Go to contact us and let me know that you want to be on the pod. But for now, we'll jump into this little analysis of the Kangaroos squad 24-man squad going over on that Ashes tour. So this is just in alphabetical order. What clubs they're going to be. I'll also mention if they're a debutant for the Kangaroos. So to kick it off, Blake Brayley from Cronulla Sharks. He is first on the list, alphabetically ordered. He's a debutant, and rightfully so. He has been the best hooker this season, other than Harry Grant. Patrick Carrigan, the Broncos. The expected Nathan Cleary, Panthers. Xavier Coates, Storm. Lindsay Collins, Roosters. Ruben Cotter, Cowboys. Angus Crichton, Roosters. Tommy Dearden, Cowboys, like another great pick. Like he's probably been a little bit underrated as a halfback this season. We saw what he did in Origin, in Origin's Game 3, like, and Game 2. Like, yes, he didn't make finals, but not everything's about finals when you Tommy Dearden. Dylan Edwards, Panthers. Tino Fusamalawi, Titans. We touched on it maybe last week or the week before about Tino, how he's decided to keep his allegiance at least for this Ashes tour with the Kangaroos. He really wants to make an impact in that. Harry Grant, our vice captain, he's from the Storm, best hooker in the comp at the moment, like we're talking to, just talked about a little bit. So no surprises there. Keon Kalamontagi, he is a debutant. He's from the Bunnies, well deserved. Zach Lomax, the Eels. Mitch Moses, Eels. I honestly reckon the halves pairing should be Mitch Moses and Dearden. Move Mitch Moses to 6 and have Dearden play at 7, or you can even do vice versa. But I think I have Mitch Moses at 6 and Dearden at 7. Like, I know Cleary's insane, and like Kangaroo Cleary is pretty good, but I just think we should run with that. Or you go the winning Origin halves, Cam Munster, because he's on the list after Mitch Moses, from the Storm. I'm just saying, it worked in Origin. It's going to work for the Kangaroos. Anyway, Mark Nwanganita-Wase from the Roosters, our debut, and we talked about it last week, if not the week before. He's going back to rugby union. There was questions that he might not get picked for the Kangaroos because he's going back to Rugby Australia. I am so glad that they picked him for the Kangaroos tour. He is the best winger in the game, undoubtedly. Like, I will be 100% honest about that. He is just insane. He's just going to give that advantage against against the Pommies in the Ashes tour. Like, I'm so glad that they just went, no, we still want him there. And I guess he'll bring now that Union want him back, and he said he's going back, I think that'll bring a bit more attention. And I know there was a whole thing that the Rugby Union has just bought a bit of publicity for a year, but I think it'll also maybe increase interest in the league, at least in the international, watching him, going, all these Union guys going, oh yeah, he's coming back, like, let's watch how he plays. So that'll be good. Jacob Preston from the Bulldogs, he's also debuting. Gambit Shibasaki from the Broncos, we've touched on his story before in the pod. He now has won Origin, won a grand final, and now he's a Kangaroo on debut. That is awesome. Lindsay Smith, Panthers. Tony Staggs, Broncos. Ethan Strange from the Canberra Raiders, my guy. Ethan Strange, we love him here. Best 5'8" in the comp this year. Honestly, put him in the starting. Like, I know I said Dearden, Munster, but let's go Dearden and Strange. Or, like, just to throw it in there. Reece Walsh, Broncos, debutant there. I wouldn't be surprised if he's our starting fullback over Edwards. He has been the most informed player, as I just said. He won, and in the last couple months, and he's just won a grand final. And Clive Churchill, like, I think that's better than Dylan Edwards this season, and he should be the starting fullback. Isaiah Yeo from the Panthers, he is our captain for it. And then Hudson Young from the Raiders, our second rower, Huddy. Gotta love him. So that is our Ashes tour, our 24-man squad. So the first game is in 2 weeks. You better believe I'll be watching it. Our first game is in 2 weeks. It is on the 25th of October at Wembley Stadium. So get keen. It's the first Ashes after 22 years. So it's going to be awesome. I think this will be the best Ashes series we've ever seen. The English side will be like insane. And I'm just excited for it. I just love how we still have rugby league after the NRL season's over. We're going to have like another month of it, at least. Like, how awesome's that? Now, let's dive into the Prime Minister's 13. We're just going to do the Australian team list, and it's a 20-man squad. And they actually have their positions out. Sorry, my voice is a bit raspy from yelling at the TV screen for the grand final. We'll run through their positions. And so the Prime Minister's 13, a few of them are on the Kangaroos tour as well. And yeah, but let's run it. Our fullback, Jai Gray, South Sydney Rabbitohs. One of our wingers, Jason Saab from Manly. Our centres, Nick Meaney, Melbourne Storm, and Trey Fuller, Dolphins. Our halves, our 5'8", Ethan Strange for the Raiders, so he's getting the call up for both. I think they just want to get him a little bit prepped in that Kangaroos jersey, get him a little bit experienced in the Prime Minister's 13 before they go over. So yeah, before they go over for the Ashes tour. Our 7, Jaden Campbell from the Titans. He's a great player. I think he'll be Origin next year. I'm not saying he will be in the halves for Origin. I think he'll be in the extended squad next year. Our props. Our first prop, Corey Horsburgh, up the milk. Big red, give him a jersey. Very excited to see him get a rep jersey this season. He was in the extended squad for Queensland in game 2, so good to see he's getting a run. Our hooker, Tommy Starling, been in that top 3 most consistent hookers this season, has been good. He can do no wrong. He's a little man, but he's got a big tigger. Other prop, Keon Kolomentagi. He's a captain. We just touched that he was also on the Ashes tour. Our second row, Talis Duncan in South, and Josh Curran, the Doggies. Our lock is Matt Eisenhurst from Panthers. We then go to our bench, and that's Jack Williams from Para, Harrison Edwards from Cowboys, Tyron Wishart from Storm. Look, I didn't want to kick a man while he was down. Like, he has had an incredible season stepping in for Jerome Hughes when he's been injured, and for Cam Munster when he's been on Origin. But for him to get thrown into the centres after, I just want to touch on this, for him to get thrown into the centres after Jack Howarth got that head injury, he's not a centre, and that was the weak link for the Storm. I just wanted to mention that. I forgot about mentioning that earlier. But anyway, he's in the squad for the Prime Minister's 13. Like, can't complain about that. Brad Schneider from the Panthers on that bench, and then we got our extended squad with our 18th, 19th, and 20th man. Liam Henry from the Panthers, Kyle Flanagan from the Dragons, and Fletcher Hunt from the Knights. 2 very strong sides. Obviously, it's more than a game. This, like, obviously the last few years, it's basically our B side Kangaroo squad with a few of our A squad players, like 2 we've got. It's this Sunday. It is more than a game. It's to show it's a political thing, as well as it just showcases our game to them. 2028, the Papua New Guinea are getting an NRL team. This just grows the sport for them even more. The rugby league is the most important thing for them, and it's just it's awesome. Like the atmosphere will be insane. They love to get around it all. They love league. So when there is a PNG squad in 2028, they will be treated as heroes, and that it's just going to grow the sport. Hopefully, players will go, oh, it's not too bad over here. I can see myself playing for them in 2028. Yeah, but obviously, the Aussies have never lost a match, and it's the 20th year anniversary of it, so that is huge. It's Kevin Walters' unofficial game as a Kangaroos coach. It's just gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be awesome. It's just more footy. I love footy. I just don't see PNG winning. Like the Aussie side is just so strong, always has been, always will be. But I hope it helps. I hope they grow, and especially heading into 2028 when we have the team in there. Now that's all I've got this week. Heavily NRL focused. Next week, over the next week, stay tuned on the socials. I've got content coming. I just got to plan it all out. Next week on Pulse Check, we'll have the Pacific Cup. The Pacific Championship. The following week, we'll then talk Ashes, more of that. And then also next week, we're going to have a deep dive. It's a Shaw and Partners Iron Series, round 1, the Coolangatta Gold, 26.4, whatever it is. I'm excited for it. I'll be down there. I will actually put content up. I know I keep promising more Instagram content and it doesn't happen, but it's coming. Look, that's the end of the pod. I just want to say Brisbane is the capital of Australian sport and Queensland is the home of Brisbane. So Queenslanders just understand sport. Welcome. Well, thank you for watching. Brisbane, Brisbane, the capital of Australian sport. Congratulations to everyone, and I will see you in the next episode. We are out.